Hey everyone, this is a HappyAnimaidCafeManager with another blind walkthrough episode for the game Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Justice for All. Right now that I'm done with lunch, I could focus on reading the text in the game. When he was stabbing poor Juan. There's a victim spoiling on the guard's fingerprint. That's a legal samurai costume. I only made one mistake so far in this trial. Okay, Mia says that the contradiction is seen right there. Seems like the Nickel Samurai has confessed to something after the post-ceremony stage show. He had to go to that post-ceremony stage show right after. Was there anyone else scheduled to appear at the ceremony? Well, the contestants were supposed to go on stage in the friendly gesture theme, and that included the Jamming Ninja. Of course it included him. That's when Angie and guard came out of Dear Juan's room. Dear Juan's room. I didn't give it a second thought. I see. Well, anyway. So he must have been worn that Nickel Samurai costume when he was stabbing poor Juan. So let me ask you this one last time. The person you saw, it really was the Nickel Samurai. As a show this ever, haven't I been saying that from the very beginning? Can I throw in the towel yet? You don't need to think too hard on this one. Huh? There's a contradiction in her testimony that's sitting in plain sight. The question is what that contradiction means for us. Well, I have to figure out what you're talking about first, but okay. Unguarded guard, yes, I remember. Will you please get on with your testimony? Striking figure by the standing all alone. He's the Nickel Samurai, so she's actually seeing him. been convenient, but I can't find a contradiction in this one. First of all, you're not gonna get an attitude. Oh man. Just thinking out loud about something. You know, I had some very frustrating moments at work when I'm dealing with rude customers. You had to go to the post-ceremony stage show right after the crime, you know? Seems like the legal ceremony to confess to something after the post-ceremony stage show. Guitar case empty. There's only some water, but only on top of the lid. There's Korea's fingerprints. Was ripped from his costume is covered in Korea's blood, found in the guard's hakama. Been at this for like 7 minutes now. But why would he come into the room if they're on bad terms, unless you're going to murder him? His rivals with the jamming ninja butts. Right after the crime, you know. Well, I've already asked her that a couple of times. That's when the guard came out of the room, Dear Juan's room. So the ceremony lasted from 6 to 8, and the conference is post-ceremony conference is supposed to start at 8:30. It was the nickel samurai I saw. I gotta try everything here because I'm clueless. Press conference. Oh yeah, the press conference. Anyway, I'm trying really hard here. Because I've been at this long enough as it is. I mean, I tried the autopsy report, but it did nothing. But how does she know she stabbed 4-1? Can't find anything I could use. Profile seems to be out of the question. And why would that be? You would think that the console would make him stand out more. Changing in and out of the costume. Yeah, I go with post-ceremony stage show right after the crime. Post-ceremony stage show right after the crime. Well, first game over for this case. There you have it. That's enough. This court sees no reason to further prolong the trial, nor is there any need for more time to decide the case against the defendant. This case is extremely clear. I see no room for misinterpretation of the facts. This court finds the defendant mad on guard. The accused will surrender to the court immediately to be held pending trial at the higher court within a month from today's date. That is all. This court is adjourned. Man, I'm really concerned on what will happen to Maya. Tabloid article about the victim was in the case. I don't have too much time to record this today because today's my mom's birthday, and I'm invited to go out and eat dinner with my family. So I gotta be there for her birthday. What? It was a knife the entire time? Please take a look at this. Yeah, so it's a knife. Big deal. If you're trying to scare me with that, I'll have you know it won't work. No, that's not my intention at all. That's the knife that was used in the murder, correct? Your Honor, do you know why this piece of evidence is important in this case? You don't even have to ask. It's because the defendant's fingerprints are on it. Is that where you're driving at? That's exactly what I'm driving at. What are we driving at, and whose car are we driving? If Mr. Ungard was really in a nickel samurai costume at the time of the murder, then it's impossible for his fingerprints to have been left on his knife. Actually, he would have wiped all the previous fingerprints on his knife right off. Oh, that's right, the nickel samurai wears gloves, doesn't he? He probably took his gloves off before he began the stabbing. And why would he do something like that? To leave his fingerprints on the murder weapon? There is no way he would do something like that. However, there is one possibility. Oh man, just look at... Man, when the game does that close-up shot, just remember, they're going to do Kamehameha objection! They ulterior possibility. It's very simple. The defendant went to the victim's room while in the costume as the nickel samurai. At the time, the defendant held no intent to murder. He was probably just going to relax and talk with the victim about the stage show. Which is why he took his gloves off. The murder still did take place. It's well known that the defendant and the victim had bad blood between them. Yes, I have heard of that. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say about Mr. Edwards' theory? So let me get this straight. Edwards' theory goes like this. When the defendant went to the victim's room, he had no intention of killing him. Now, up to this point, are there any problems with this theory? Think about it one more time. I think I need a little more time on this one, so let me get this straight. Edwards' theory goes like this. When the defendant went to the victim's room, he had no intentions of killing him. Now, up to this point, are there any problems with this theory? I I can't see any real problems with his theory. But if you let Edgeworth's theory stand, then we're one very large step closer to a guilty verdict. Look at the court record again, take another shot at it. Yeah, I just have to think about it one more time. Mr. Wright, please make your decision soon. So let me get this straight. Edgeworth's theory goes like this. Bad turns, rivals with the javelin ninja. There is a contradiction. This theory contradicts something in an earlier testimony. What are you babbling about? Now for our argument's sake, let's suppose Mr. Unguarded was the killer. If that's the case, I think that it's impossible for the killer to have gone to the victim's room without intent. Naturally, you point to the one piece with the least value, but with such vigor. Enjoy your energy while you can. Humans don't live forever. Neither do lawyers. You sure like to think you can bluff your way out of things, don't you? Phoenix, pay attention. Let's pretend for a second that Mr. Edgeworth is the murderer. Now, for that angle, if he didn't have the murderer's intent from the very beginning, then that means there is a certain object that you shouldn't be at the crime scene, right? A certain thing. What certain thing? How are you doing over there? Busy collecting your thoughts? Alright, let's give this one more try. And even with more spirit this time. Then that means there is a certain object that shouldn't be at the scene of the crime, right? An object that shouldn't be there. The knife? Guitar case? Shouldn't be at the scene of the crime. Damn! Hey, I'm trying here. A certain thing. Oh, come on! I was sure about that last one. Nah, I thought it was too good to be true in. Well, Wright did alright in the last episode. Well, the episode's almost over anyway. And that'll be all for today. Also, hoping to get through the trial before the end. So the only way to go is just to point out if there's a contradiction. This knife was used by Mr. On Guard at dinner. Yes, we did establish that, which means that if my client was in fact the killer, then he brought this knife with him when he went to visit Mr. Corrida, I suppose. However, you just said it yourself. At that time, the defendant had no intent to murder. If that were true, then why would he bring a knife? He wouldn't, would he? Which means, Mr. Edgeworth, your theory was flawed from supposition 1. And one more thing, if the murderer was wearing the costume at the time of the murder, then there should be glove marks left on the knife. Which means the defendant's fingerprint shouldn't be all over it like bees on a hive. And that brings me to my final point. This knife was planted by the real killer to hide their identity and mislead us. Order, I say, order in the court. Was this knife really planted by the killer? Why would the murderer do such a thing? To frame Matt Ungard. It's to frame my client, Matt Ungard, of course. To frame? Aren't you forcing the interpretation just a little too hard on this one? But we just established that the witness saw the nickel samurai in the costume. And if it were true, then there shouldn't be a single fingerprint on this knife. Witness! Alright, so I'm making some progress. 2 game overs so far on this case. Hopefully I keep it to a minimum. Thanks for watching. Until next time, to be continued, baby.